So,
No, why? It's not recorded. Recorded.
it's recording now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from the private library and any possible micro step is pretty much in that list that I put them through. Because you can do 1.3, 1.4, 2 hertz, 5 hertz, 10 hertz away from the original rates.
Mm-hmm.
I've put all those into the zyto. It took me a long time to do that.
You just like pushing and going.
Yeah.
This is, that's good.
It's the same thing. We send in a signal, and if it finds the same signal, it's amplified. So, this is, okay, we call this like zyto or nelian. They're somewhat related. So that's into the body. If this exists inside the body, the same wave, which is supposed to look a little bit better than that, but it will increase it, right? It'll increase it. So once we see this increased response, it'll flag the zyto, and this might be a level 20, and this is a level 20, and so this might show up as a 40, and that's a good response. Or maybe it's 20 times 20, and then it would be, I don't know, 400. So that would be the distribution ratio, the 400. If these things went in and it came back, and there's nothing like the signal, you would have like a 0 response, because nothing happened to this frequency when it went through the body, because there was nothing similar to it in the body. I believe the same thing happens with the nelian. If it doesn't find something similar, it moves on. And the important thing with how I have the zyto set up is this isn't anything arbitrary. This is 23,485 is what would be an example. That's the most destructive candida frequency when Pulse Tech did their candida research in Romania with slightly older equipment. So instead of this being just a remedy, you could do a much more potent remedy with the PFG, because that's 36 volts per pulse, and the nelian is it's rearranging energy in your own body.
I forgot how much volts.
There's no volts. It's milliamps. It's really, really tiny, because that's all you can get out of a USB is 200 milliamps. That's why to use the PFG for therapy is gonna be faster. If you can do this, it's gonna be more direct. And anywhere that exists in the body, if you even have wrist to wrist, you might feel it in
How
the
come
foot.
40,000 here running?
It's not. It's running. I think it's running 880 hertz.
How you know? It's 40 running, no?
It's not.
How do you know?
Because that 40,000 is on a normal square wave. See, that's just normal square, right? That's square 50 duty cycle, but it's running a square 95 duty cycle here, which is only present there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And unless you start a new frequency manually by clicking on something, it won't run anything new until the previous frequency is done running. So since we started running 880 hertz 26 minutes ago, it's not done yet,
let's see, we start, we talk about advance and contact. Contact and from 0 to 3,100, right? Contact.
Yeah, it's really like 0.01 hertz to 300,000, maybe
But-
0.03.
But now this is contact.
Yeah. If you're running contact, don't run anything else. And you don't want to run frequencies that are in the radio waves because you'll heat other tissues with radio waves.
But what radio frequency?
Radio frequency.
Radio over 300,000.
Yeah, it's over 300,000, and it's the whole range from 300,000 to 10 megahertz is still radio wave. I'm pretty sure.
But what do you recommend about what can I put? Contact or advance?
Contact.
All the time.
For running contact, you run contact.
When can I put advance?
If you feel like you need to run something that's over 300,000, then you need to run advanced. Because contact won't deliver a signal that's over 300,000. So, for example, you could add 413,000, and it will still run 300,000 if you're in contact mode. You press play, it says it's doing 413,000, but it's not. It's doing 300,000.
Oh, what was, for example, with Clark? I need put for Clark. Oh, for him.
Clark
Yeah, this
is.
Clark.
That's not specific to Sydney, though. You have biofeedback, you should be specific. Because you have the biofeedback, you have the markers. And you shouldn't be running cookbook type medicine with this. Cookbook is, okay, we have a general recipe for cancer or a general recipe for
Why she
fatigue.
develop? Why she develop?
Well, because she wanted to put out something cookbook, but because you have biofeedback, you shouldn't need cookbook. And because you have the on-demand, you shouldn't need cookbook medicine. What don't you understand about that? Because she's putting a blanket statement saying these cancer people have the parasites and they have the viruses or whatever she's saying. She's making a whole blanket statement for everybody, which everyone is different. And people are changing, they're always in flux. So you'll want to go through, do the on-demand and put it into the advanced high frequency calculator, etc.
I just delete.
You'll want to assess SID about every week, if you can. I would say.
What?
And the Zyto, like my Zyto scan is probably going to be good for 3 to 6 weeks, but that's kind of pushing it too. I think when you run a frequency for 3 minutes or 15 minutes, especially with a PFG, and this might be cumulative, especially if you're running it daily, so 5 minutes per frequency for 3 days in a row with the same frequency, you probably won't need to run that frequency anymore. You probably need to do a micro step of it, like 0.1 hertz different, 0.3 hertz different, 0.5 hertz different. Okay, I mean, so you have this bug, and this bug is responding to specifically, this is under frequency generation considerations.
Explanation?
Yeah. So we know the 30,000 flag. So SID needs something like 30,000, but 30,000 point 0.1 might be in the middle. And this could be 29,999.9. But 30,000 is close to what he's dealing with, based on the reactions that I got on the Zyto so far. I hope to find something that's over 1,000 distribution ratio. So that, you know, we send in this rate, it's the same low power, but there's huge waves. So let's say this is already going on in the body. It's not this one. It's a major problem. So, you know, 400 times the 20, 800. That would be 8,000. And it would just be, you know, a spike that takes up the whole paper for the higher reactions. But yeah, if you look at Vol and what he did, it's a certain pressure, or there's signals associated with whatever condition. There's signals associated with it. With yours, it's LED, auditory, and pressure. That it's not, your nelian's not going to run 23,485. I don't believe it will.
I don't think so.
Yeah. There's with Vol stuff, there was this limit of 100, and so Candida might be 50, and then they might associate B12 with 65, and they'll put in a certain pressure associated with that, and it might be a bigger bricked wave or a higher energy, but the max on your energy is going to be 200 milliwatts or 2 milliamps. I'm sorry. So there's different pressures, different signals associated with it. You're trying to increase the signal by finding, by running a signal of something that's going on in his body already, but you don't know what those are. Then we're going to try to find them. And you can find them with the Ondimed the same way. But the Ondimed's an actual signal generator. So with the Ondimed, you're going to run. Do you know how to do fine graduation with the Ondimed?
You told me before.
Okay, let's go back over to the Ondimed.